This is why many elderly people will not live past 82 if you are old. Many people, almost instinctively, project their lives well into their late 80s or even beyond, imagining a long, graceful twilight. However, this common assumption often collides with a far harsher reality. For a significant number of individuals, the journey of life concludes much sooner, frequently before they reach their 82nd year. This premature end is rarely attributed to a single, sudden, catastrophic illness or an unforeseen accident. Instead, it is the insidious accumulation of subtle daily habits, a persistent pattern of overlooking crucial warning signs, and entrenched mental frameworks that, over time, gradually erode one's physical strength, diminish cognitive awareness, and ultimately sap the very will to fully engage with life. For anyone who has crossed the threshold of 60 years, this profound insight is far more than a mere observation. It serves as an urgent, resonant wake-up call. The choices and actions you undertake, the intentional shifts you make within the coming 12 months, hold the power to dictate the trajectory of your later years, determining whether you gradually fade into obscurity or instead defiantly choose to finish your life's race with enduring strength and vibrant purpose. To truly grasp the full scope of this revelation, it is imperative to delve into the underlying causes, and the final reason, often whispered only in hushed tones, is arguably the most profound and universally relevant. One of the most foundational pillars of a long, healthy life, yet paradoxically one of the first to be neglected, revolves around physical motion. Quite simply, motion is life. Our bodies are intricate biological machines designed for movement, for action, for exploration. Yet, as individuals progress through the later stages of life, for an alarmingly large percentage, movement gradually transforms from an innate necessity into an optional activity. It becomes something to consider only if ample time permits, if one happens to feel up to it on a given day, or if the external weather conditions prove inviting. This gradual shift in perspective carries profound consequences, because the body, in its remarkable wisdom, does not idly wait for an invitation to function optimally. Instead, it meticulously records and responds to every action you take, and crucially, every action you fail to take. When the deliberate, purposeful engagement with movement ceases, your body doesn't merely pause its decline, it initiates a systemic shutdown. The visible signs are just the beginning. Muscles, once robust, begin to visibly shrink and weaken, a process known as atrophy. Bones, once dense and resilient, start to lose their mineral content, becoming increasingly fragile and susceptible to fractures. Your sense of balance, once an unconscious surety, progressively fades, making everyday tasks like walking or turning into perilous ventures. Blood circulation, the vital delivery system for oxygen and nutrients, slows to a sluggish pace, affecting every organ and tissue. In essence, the body, an incredibly adaptable system, meticulously begins to mimic and fulfill the very instruction you are implicitly providing: to do less. The transition into a sedentary lifestyle for most seniors is rarely a conscious, deliberate decision. It unfolds with deceptive slowness, often woven into the fabric of everyday life changes. Retirement, a period often anticipated with joy and relief, frequently marks the beginning of this subtle decline. The daily ritual of walking to work, navigating stairs, or simply moving within a professional environment vanishes, eliminating a significant source of incidental physical activity. More time is spent indoors, reducing exposure to the varied terrains and weather that naturally encourage movement. Stairs, once climbed without thought, now begin to feel like formidable obstacles, prompting their avoidance in favor of elevators or ground-level activities. The amount of time spent sitting escalates dramatically, not just during meals, but throughout the day while reading, watching television, or simply resting. Slowly but inexorably, movement ceases to be an initiated act of volition and becomes a mere reaction to external necessity. You might walk because it's the only way to get to the kitchen, not because you inherently desire the movement itself. Stretching occurs only in response to an ache or stiffness, rather than as a proactive measure to maintain limberness and flexibility. Ventures outside are reserved strictly for essential errands. Before one fully comprehends the shift, their physical world, mirroring their physical body, has perceptibly contracted, becoming smaller, less engaged, and increasingly restricted. What many fail to fully grasp is that the ramifications of this reduced movement extend far beyond the purely physical realm. While it is undeniable that a cessation of purposeful motion leads to muscle atrophy, joint stiffening, and bone fragility, the impact resonates much deeper, influencing the very core of your neurological and psychological well-being. Movement serves as a powerful form of stimulation, not merely for your limbs and torso, but crucially for your brain. Each step you take, every stretch, every conscious adjustment of posture sends a cascade of vital signals from the mechanoreceptors in your feet, up your spine, and into your brainstem. These intricate neurological signals act as an internal alarm clock, awakening your entire nervous system, keeping it primed and responsive. They are instrumental in maintaining mental sharpness, regulating mood, and profoundly reminding your body, at a cellular level, I am still here, I still have purpose. The very instant you cease to intentionally engage your body, this crucial influx of neural information dwindles, and your brain activity perceptibly begins to dim. Thoughts feel slower, less creative. A persistent sense of fatigue settles in. Gradually, confidence erodes, and over time, a part of your very identity begins to fade. This is because movement is, in a very real sense, identity. The unique way you walk, the manner in which you stand, the reach of your arm, the curve of your stretch, the way you carry yourself. All these non-verbal cues communicate to your nervous system that you are not simply surviving, but actively living. This deeper understanding clarifies why merely shuffling around the house, while certainly better than complete immobility, is fundamentally insufficient. Such minimal movement, often described as survival movement, is largely automatic and devoid of functional training benefits. It doesn't challenge your core posture. It fails to strengthen vital muscle groups like your glutes. It does little to improve the efficiency and power of your stride, and it certainly doesn't actively reinforce your balance in dynamic situations. While it might keep you upright for the immediate moment, its long-term effect is to allow your muscles to grow quiet and unresponsive, your core strength to dissipate, and insidious weakness to settle into areas that once felt robust and dependable. What is truly required for vibrant aging is intentional motion, movement that demands genuine effort, conscious control, and present awareness. This doesn't necessitate training for a marathon or lifting exceptionally heavy weights. Rather, it means consistently engaging in activities that ensure your joints function precisely as they were engineered to, that your spine remains properly aligned, and that your nervous system stays actively awake and alert. This translates into incorporating some form of resistance training, even if it's simply utilizing resistance bands or your own body weight. It means stretching with focused intention, not merely bending haphazardly. It calls for specific posture exercises that help maintain proper shoulder alignment, neck height, and hip stability. And yes, it emphatically means walking with purpose every single day, ideally outdoors where the ground surface naturally varies, compelling you to actively engage your balance and conscious awareness with every stride. Each time you move with such intention, you are sending a clear, powerful message to your nervous system. I am still needed. Keep me sharp. And your body, in turn, responds in kind. Blood flow improves, hormones rebalance, digestion becomes more efficient, breathing deepens, and your mood perceptibly lifts. You don't require an expensive gym membership or complex, esoteric routines. What you need is to proactively reclaim movement as a daily, consistent, and utterly non-negotiable form of medicine. Because once you cease intentional movement, the physiological decline doesn't patiently wait. It accelerates with alarming speed. It manifests initially in subtle ways. Your legs feel surprisingly weak after a short stroll, you find yourself tripping more often, or you hesitate before making turns. But these small signs are merely precursors to a more profound deterioration. You begin losing significant muscle mass, not due to disease, but purely from disuse. Bones become increasingly fragile, not simply from chronological age, but from chronic inactivity. As your posture inevitably collapses, your lung capacity diminishes, your balance becomes precarious, and your self-confidence crumbles. Movement is not merely something to undertake when you already feel good. It is, in fact, the very mechanism that makes you feel good. It is the catalyst that keeps your digestion functioning, your joints fluid, and your brain firing optimally. It is the powerful affirmation that tells your body you still fundamentally belong in this world, not merely as a passive passenger, but as an active, engaged participant. So, pause for a moment and genuinely ask yourself, when was the last time you moved with conscious intention for your health, not out of ingrained habit, but with a deliberate purpose? When did you last walk, not just from the couch to the kitchen, but around the entire block with your chest lifted high and your stride feeling genuinely strong? When was the last occasion you stood tall, stretched wide, and emphatically reminded your body that it was inherently built for active engagement? Do not allow the seductive lure of convenience to pilfer your precious energy. Do not let the deceptive comfort of stillness progressively weaken your legs. Do not permit inactivity to become your default state. You do not require hours. Just a few minutes each day are sufficient to broadcast the unequivocal message: I am still here, I still move, I still resolutely choose to live. Because motion is intrinsically life, and a life that is truly real, vibrantly engaged, and deeply fulfilling commences the very moment you willingly take that next purposeful step. Beyond physical movement, another critical area where many older adults unwittingly sabotage their vitality is through their dietary choices. There is a quiet, often imperceptible shift in how many people approach eating as they age, and this transformation frequently goes entirely unnoticed. It typically begins innocently enough, skipping meals because the familiar pang of hunger isn't as pronounced, gravitating towards softer foods because they require less effort to chew, or opting for quick, easily prepared options because one might be eating alone. However, over time, the profound act of eating gradually dissociates from its primary function of fueling the body, evolving instead into a primary source of comfort. Food becomes a monotonous routine, driven by emotion or steeped in nostalgia. While there is absolutely nothing inherently wrong with seeking comfort from food occasionally, the grave danger arises when it becomes the default mode of consumption. This is particularly perilous because your body, especially beyond the age of 60, doesn't primarily require emotional comfort from food. It desperately needs precise, nuanced nutritional support. The undeniable truth is that your digestive system undergoes significant physiological changes with advancing age. The stomach, for instance, produces less hydrochloric acid, a crucial component for breaking down food and absorbing nutrients. The delicate balance of gut bacteria shifts, often favoring less beneficial strains. Consequently, your body becomes considerably less efficient at absorbing certain vital nutrients, most notably protein, magnesium, vitamin B12, and vitamin D. Furthermore, muscle mass is lost at an accelerated rate, while fat is stored with greater ease. Your insulin response, once sharp and efficient, becomes blunted and less effective. These physiological realities mean that the food choices that were perfectly acceptable and even advantageous in your 30s now actively work against you after 60. If you persist in eating precisely as you did in your younger years, your body doesn't merely slow down. It begins a quiet, internal process of cellular breakdown. Yet a vast majority of older adults continue to structure their meals around what is familiar and emotionally reassuring. An abundance of bread, pasta, mashed potatoes, cereal, crackers, cookies, processed meats, and convenient, easy snacks. These foods, while undoubtedly comforting, soft, sweet, salty, and repetitive, are also largely devoid of true nutritional value. They provoke rapid spikes in blood sugar, trigger systemic inflammation throughout the body, and leave your cells fundamentally underfed. You might feel a superficial sense of fullness, but your body, at a cellular level, remains starved for genuine nutrition. Over an extended period, this nutritional deprivation manifests as pervasive fatigue, persistent joint pain, debilitating brain fog, a compromised immune system, and a noticeably slower healing capacity. It's not simply that you are getting old, you are, more accurately, becoming chronically undernourished. What many fail to comprehend is the profound dual impact of comfort food, affecting not only your physical body, but also your mental faculties. Highly processed, carbohydrate-heavy foods have a distinct sedating effect. They dull your cognitive focus, significantly lower your overall energy levels, and can even trigger inflammation within the brain itself. This neural inflammation can reduce crucial neurotransmitter function and even exacerbate symptoms of depression. That insistent midday nap you feel compelled to take after a heavy, carb-laden lunch, the persistent mental fog that lingers throughout the afternoon, the constant feeling of being bloated and sluggish. These are not inevitable consequences of advancing age. These are direct, discernible consequences of your dietary choices. You are fundamentally what your cells can absorb and utilize, not merely what you physically ingest. If your cells are swimming in an excess of sugar, stripped of vital fiber, and consistently missing critical micronutrients, they simply cannot perform their essential functions. They cannot effectively repair themselves. They cannot regenerate muscle tissue. They cannot adequately protect your vital organs, and they certainly cannot maintain the sharpness and responsiveness of your nervous system. When you consistently eat for comfort rather than fuel, you are, in essence, systematically extracting vitality from your life. Your body might continue to function at a basic level, but it is certainly not thriving. It is merely surviving. This subtle, unacknowledged shift marks the critical difference between the natural process of aging and the debilitating experience of decaying. So, what does it truly signify to eat with deliberate intention, particularly in your later years? It means consciously prioritizing function over fleeting flavor, not necessarily with every single meal, but certainly for the vast majority. It means constructing your meals primarily around robust sources of protein, lean meats, various types of fish, eggs, and legumes, because muscle mass is the undisputed currency of healthy aging. Without adequate muscle, every other physiological system begins to decline. It means making a conscious choice to include abundant, fiber-rich foods, a wide array of vegetables, fruits consumed with their skins, whole grains, and various seeds, because your digestive system absolutely requires this stimulation to remain active and efficient. It means drastically reducing your sugar intake, not solely for weight management, but fundamentally because sugar fuels systemic inflammation and aggressively drains your energy reserves. And critically, it means hydrating consistently with pure water rather than relying on sodas, fruit juices, or continuous coffee consumption, because your cells demand clean, unadulterated fluid to function optimally. Eating well is not about enduring harsh restriction. It is an act of profound respect. It is respecting the precise nutritional needs of your body at this distinct stage of life. It is respecting your future self enough to proactively provide it with strength and resilience in the present. You do not need to adhere to a draconian diet or become a certified health expert. You simply need to engage in honest self-assessment. Are you genuinely feeding your body for vitality, or are you merely numbing it to discomfort? Are you eating with the explicit goal of remaining sharp, mobile, and energized, or are you simply trying to pass time, soothe stress, or avoid the effort of cooking? Even a single small change can initiate a significant ripple effect. Swapping a sugary breakfast cereal for eggs and fruit, replacing soda with refreshing water infused with lemon, adding an extra handful of vibrant greens to your plate, or deliberately skipping dessert just 2 nights a week. These seemingly minor decisions collectively send a powerful, affirmative message to your body. I still care. I am still present. I still possess a profound desire to live well. And your body, in turn, will respond with increased energy, an elevated mood, improved sleep quality, and noticeably clearer thinking. You do not require perfect meals, but you unequivocally need purposeful ones. Because after the age of 60, food transcends mere enjoyment. It transforms into your medicine, your momentum, and your unwavering message to your cells that you are not capitulating, but rather you are just beginning. Beyond physical and nutritional elements, the social dimension plays an equally profound, though often underestimated, role in healthy aging. Connection is far from being a mere luxury or a pleasant embellishment to life. For the aging body and brain, genuine human connection acts as a powerful form of medicine. It serves as the intricate regulator that keeps the nervous system balanced, the vital stimulus that keeps your mind sharp, the steady anchor that stabilizes your heart, and the animating force that keeps your spirit vibrantly alive. Yet, as individuals progress through their golden years, a a discernible and often unconscious pattern emerges. Many begin to incrementally shrink their social world. They cease the proactive act of calling friends, they decline invitations to social events, and they find themselves opting out of family gatherings. Conversations grow shorter, days become quieter, and this slow, creeping quietude gradually coalesces into a form of isolation that can inflict more profound damage than any physical disease. When you disconnect from other people, your body, in its intricate wisdom, begins to respond in decidedly detrimental ways. Extensive scientific studies consistently demonstrate that chronic social isolation significantly elevates your risk of early mortality, even more so than obesity, more than alcoholism, and astonishingly, even more than a lack of physical activity. It triggers a sustained elevation of cortisol, the primary stress hormone, suppresses critical immune function, and exacerbates systemic inflammation throughout the body. It actively contributes to memory decline, fuels anxiety and depression, and is even linked to an increased risk of cardiovascular problems. While your lungs may still draw breath, your cells, at a fundamental biological level, begin to behave as if you have already withdrawn from the grand tapestry of life. This phenomenon, tragically, befalls a great many individuals. Sometimes it is an indirect consequence of retirement. The daily interactions with colleagues vanish, your established routine dissolves, and while your schedule becomes more flexible, your personal world simultaneously contracts. Other times, health-related challenges are the primary catalysts. A loss of mobility can render the simple act of leaving the house an overwhelming hassle. Friends may pass away, family members relocate, and the telephone rings with diminishing frequency, leaving you to spend entire days steeped in silence. This withdrawal isn't always a conscious desire, but rather an insidious acceptance of it as the new normal. However, it is crucial to understand that loneliness is not a normal state of being. It transcends a mere emotional feeling. It is a demonstrable physical condition that exacts a real and measurable toll on your overall health. What many fail to realize is that social interaction is, in essence, neurological exercise of the highest order. Every time you engage in a genuine conversation, your brain is firing across multiple complex pathways. You are actively processing intricate language, retrieving specific memories and details, interpreting subtle body language cues, responding to nuanced emotional signals, and navigating the dynamic rhythm of the interaction. This constant mental engagement keeps your brain alive and agile. Laughter, in particular, unleashes a surge of dopamine, a powerful neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and motivation. Active listening cultivates empathy and strengthens neural connections. Even physical touch, when appropriate and consensual, has been shown to reduce blood pressure and stabilize heart rate. These are not trivial effects. They are the hidden, potent regulators of your intricate internal world. And when they gradually disappear, your body begins a slow, systemic withdrawal from life itself. This highlights why simply being in the vicinity of other people is not enough. What is essential is meaningful interaction, the kind of authentic connection that powerfully reminds you of your inherent belonging, that affirms the importance of your unique story, and that ensures you are seen, truly seen, by another human being, just as you genuinely see them. This connection can manifest in myriad forms: a heartfelt phone call, a relaxed coffee meetup with an old friend, a simple walk with a neighbor, volunteering a few hours a week for a cause you believe in, or joining a small, interest-based group. These aren't luxuries to be indulged in only when convenient. They are non-negotiable requirements for vibrant aging. Because when you are seen, heard, and feel genuinely needed, your entire biology undergoes a profound shift. You stand taller, your thoughts become clearer, you feel an invigorating sense of youthfulness, and your very cells remember how to actively live. Conversely, when individuals cease reaching out, and perhaps even more critically, stop allowing others into their inner world, the decline often accelerates far more rapidly than anyone anticipates. It may begin with simple forgetfulness, then sleep patterns worsen, motivation dwindles, and you gradually cease caring about your appearance, your movement, or your diet. You begin to fade from the inside out, long before your physical body ultimately fails. It is not always the heart that gives out first. It is often the profound connection to life itself. Yes, the modern world undoubtedly feels different, faster, more digitally mediated. People scroll through feeds instead of engaging in direct conversation, and everything seems to be enveloped in a pervasive noise. But this is precisely why it is even more imperative to remain actively engaged within it. You do not need to tirelessly keep pace with every new trend or technological innovation. You simply need to remain authentically human, consistently present. Be the one who bravely initiates a conversation. Call your children, send a heartfelt message to old friends, organize a game night, or make the effort to attend that community event, even if it feels a little awkward initially. Because the longer you remain socially engaged, the longer your body retains its remarkable responsiveness. And let us be candid, this often requires a significant amount of courage. It is undeniably easier to withdraw, to politely decline, and to remain within the comfortable confines of your home. But if your ultimate goal is to safeguard your physical health, preserve your precious memory, and maintain your emotional resilience, you undeniably need people. Not necessarily hundreds, but a cherished few who infuse life into your world, who respectfully challenge you, who genuinely listen to you, and who steadfastly remind you of your enduring significance. You do not outgrow the need for connection. Rather, you evolve into a deeper, more profound need for it. So ask yourself with unwavering honesty, when was the last time you proactively reached out to someone without waiting to be contacted first? When was the last time you engaged in a truly face-to-face conversation that left you genuinely smiling, deeply contemplating, or fondly reminiscing? When was the last time you received a hug, a real, comforting embrace, and felt your nervous system gently settle into a state of peace? These seemingly simple acts are not supplementary, they are the very fuel of your existence. They form an integral part of your longevity strategy, whether you consciously recognize it or not. Because here lies the undeniable truth. The moment you cease to be an active participant in the world, your body, in its profound interconnectedness, begins to quietly prepare for its exit. But the moment you consciously choose to re-engage, to be fully present, deeply connected, and vibrantly alive once more, everything begins to shift back toward life. You do not require 1,000 acquaintances. You need genuine connection. Deep, consistent, meaningful connection. Do not allow your world to shrink. Actively expand it, even if it's just by fostering one more conversation. Perhaps one of the most perilous myths surrounding the process of aging is the widespread belief that poor sleep is an inevitable, somehow normal consequence of growing older. The notion that after 60 or 70, one must simply resign themselves to broken rest, enduring long, restless nights of tossing and turning and waking prematurely in the early hours without desire, is not only fundamentally incorrect, but profoundly detrimental. Poor sleep is far from a harmless side effect of chronological aging. It serves as a stark red flag, a critical signal indicating that your body's intricate internal systems, your brain, your hormones, your immune system, are under significant strain and actively struggling. And if this crucial signal is consistently ignored, the underlying damage does not simply cease. It quietly compounds, night after night, week after week. Most individuals fail to establish a direct link between the quality of their sleep and their long-term health, often perceiving sleep as an optional, negotiable luxury, primarily based on comfort. However, sleep is vastly more than mere rest. It is the indispensable process of recovery and profound restoration. It is during these vital hours that your brain actively detoxifies itself of metabolic waste products. Your immune system undertakes crucial repairs and fortifications. Your hormones meticulously reset and rebalance. Your memories consolidate and integrate, and your entire body makes the fundamental decision whether to heal and regenerate or to slowly deteriorate. If you find yourself waking every 2 hours, if you consistently rely on pharmaceutical aids just to drift off, or if you consistently wake up feeling groggy, heavy, and unrestored each morning, you are not simply experiencing fatigue. You are, in a very real sense, accelerating your own aging process. The impact of sleep loss is startlingly concrete. It literally shrinks the brain. This is not mere speculation. It has been repeatedly demonstrated through advanced brain imaging studies. A chronically tired brain doesn't just feel slow. It demonstrably becomes smaller over time, particularly affecting areas areas crucial for memory, attention, emotional regulation, and complex decision-making. You might start forgetting names with greater frequency, lose patience more quickly, or become unexpectedly reactive, anxious, or withdrawn, not due to an innate shift in personality, but as a direct consequence of inadequate brain hygiene. The detrimental effects, however, do not stop at the brain. Poor sleep systematically wreaks havoc on your immune system. Even a single night of severely disrupted sleep can significantly impair your body's ability to effectively fight off infections. Chronic sleep issues are a potent catalyst for systemic inflammation, the very type of inflammation intimately linked to a host of debilitating conditions, including heart disease, Alzheimer's, arthritis, diabetes, and clinical depression. Your joints ache more persistently, your gut becomes increasingly sensitive, and your body's capacity for healing significantly slows. The most insidious aspect of this decline is its subtlety. It often feels manageable, just a little tired. Yet beneath the surface, the cumulative damage inexorably builds. Despite these profound implications, great many older adults continue to accept poor sleep as their new, unchangeable reality. They casually shrug off the symptoms, adopting the resigned attitude of, "That's just how it is now." They might take a pill, mindlessly scroll on their phone, or leave the television blaring until they eventually drift off, mistakenly believing that this superficial rest is sufficient. But that particular kind of sleep, broken, shallow, and often chemically induced, does not truly restore your body. It merely sedates it. It places you in a physiological limbo where your nervous system never fully resets and rejuvenates. Over time, this chronic deprivation wears you down in ways that are not always immediately apparent or easily quantifiable. The genuine solution isn't simply to get more sleep, but rather to achieve demonstrably better sleep. And better sleep is rarely an accidental occurrence. It demands conscious discipline and unwavering commitment. It necessitates protecting your inherent biological rhythm, your crucial circadian clock, with the same fervent dedication you would protect your most vital health assets, because it is your health. This means consciously reducing light exposure in the evening hours. Your body's internal clock takes powerful cues from environmental brightness. When you keep bright lights on late into the night, you are effectively signaling to your brain that it is still daytime, which significantly delays the release of melatonin, the sleep hormone, and shortens the critical deep sleep stages. The tangible fix? Dim the lights significantly after sunset and conscientiously avoid all screens for at least 2 hours before bedtime, allowing your body to naturally perceive the crucial shift from day to night. Ambient temperature also plays a pivotal role. Your core body temperature needs to drop by approximately 1 to 2 degrees Celsius to successfully initiate deep sleep. A warm, stuffy room actively obstructs this vital physiological process. Conversely, sleeping in a cooler environment, ideally around 18 degrees Celsius, can dramatically increase the amount of time you spend in the most restorative sleep stages. If you frequently wake up sweating or feeling restless, temperature control might very well be the hidden antagonist. Natural supplements can also be beneficial, not as a replacement for addressing root causes, but as a supportive aid. For instance, magnesium, particularly magnesium glycinate or L-theanine, can help relax the body without the sedative side effects often associated with conventional sleeping pills. These can be effectively paired with deliberate breathwork. Slow, intentional breathing exercises before bed activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, which sends a clear message to your body. You are safe. You can let go and rest now. But above all, the most critical element is cultivating profound respect for sleep itself, elevating it to a non-negotiable priority rather than a mere afterthought. You would never consistently skip meals every day and realistically expect your body to remain strong and healthy. By the same token, you cannot perpetually forgo deep, high-quality sleep and expect your mind and body to function optimally. You must consciously treat bedtime as a sacred ritual, a designated period to unplug from external distractions, unwind from the day's stresses, and meticulously prepare your body and mind for the essential healing and restorative processes of sleep. If you are persistently struggling with sleep, do not fall into the trap of ignoring it. Proactively track your sleep patterns. Consider undergoing a professional sleep study to rule out conditions like sleep apnea, optimize your bedroom environment for darkness and coolness, and establish a consistent, calming bedtime ritual. Transform sleep into something you eagerly anticipate and look forward to rather than something you dread or fight against. Because when you genuinely sleep well, every single aspect of your life demonstrably improves. Your memory sharpens, your energy levels soar, your immune strength solidifies, your mood stabilizes, and your overall resilience to stress increases. You do not need to achieve perfect sleep every single night, but you absolutely need intentional sleep. And critically, you are never too old to begin making these vital improvements. You are not too far gone to significantly enhance your sleep quality. Your body still possesses an innate drive to heal, and your brain still yearns to repair itself. But it simply cannot accomplish these vital tasks if you are consistently sabotaging its natural rhythm night after night. Do not allow poor sleep to normalize within your experience. Do not let pervasive fatigue become your accepted baseline. Instead, consciously choose the kind of rest that genuinely restores you, not merely the kind that passively gets you through the night. Because the longer you continue to sleep poorly, the more perceptibly shorter your vibrant, engaged life ultimately becomes. Finally, and perhaps most profoundly, we arrive at the last and arguably most challenging truth: the insidious phenomenon of living without purpose. This condition is not rare. In fact, it is disturbingly ubiquitous, often quiet, unspoken, and utterly invisible from the outside, yet deeply, painfully felt within the individual. It marks the precise moment when someone ceases to actively move towards something meaningful, when the days, one after another, begin to blend into an indistinguishable, monotonous blur. When there is nothing tangible to aim for, nothing inspiring to build, nothing precious to protect or nurture, nothing new to learn or grow. It is not simply a loss of time that is experienced, but a far more debilitating loss of fundamental meaning. And when that profound sense of meaning dissipates, the physical body, in its uncanny responsiveness, often begins its own quiet decline soon thereafter. Purpose is not inherently defined by a job title, nor is it measured solely by one's productivity. Purpose is, at its core, a deliberate decision. It is a conscious choice to remain deeply committed to something that genuinely matters to you. This could manifest in myriad forms: meticulously caring for your health, offering unwavering support to someone you deeply love, generously sharing your accumulated wisdom with others, actively helping those in need, passionately learning a new skill, or simply waking up each day with the resolute mindset that I still have something valuable to give. It is not about being ceaselessly busy. It is fundamentally about feeling needed. And when your nervous system registers that you are needed, it remains actively engaged, alert, and vibrant. But when that sense of need disappears, the nervous system gradually downshifts, slowly, perhaps reluctantly, but with an unwavering certainty. The pervasive problem is that most people, upon retirement, withdraw from far more than just their professional work. They often inadvertently retire from conscious effort, from cultivating a forward-looking vision, and from embracing the kind of intellectual and physical challenges that once kept them mentally sharp and physically agile. The tyranny of the clock no longer dictates their schedule, deadlines vanish, and for the initial few months, this newfound freedom can indeed feel like a blissful state of peace. However, too much sustained stillness is a deceptive mirage. It is not genuine peace, but rather a decline cloaked in comfort. The body, deprived of its imperative to move and engage, begins to subtly loosen. Muscles lose their essential tone, posture gradually collapses, appetite can fade, sleep becomes lighter and less restorative, hormone levels drop, and brain waves, once dynamic and complex, start to flatten. And the soul, that intrinsic part of you that once burned with focus, passion, and unique identity, grows quiet, not entirely extinguished, but noticeably dulled. You can often perceive this profound shift in their eyes, in the hesitant way they speak, and in the diminished way they move. Individuals who once stood tall with an air of confidence begin to visibly hunch. Those who once looked forward with anticipation now gaze only downwards. Their voice softens, their range of choices narrows, and their steps grow noticeably slower. This is not simply the natural process of aging, it is the stark outcome of a person no longer feeling intrinsically called to action, when there is no longer a compelling reason to push, no one explicitly counting on them, and nothing new or exciting to truly awaken for. And here lies the harsh, unvarnished truth. Without a profound sense of purpose, the intricate human system begins, quite literally, to prepare for its exit. Not instantly, but incrementally. The immune system weakens its defenses, memory becomes less vital, and so the brain gradually lets go of its sharp recall. The eyes struggle to focus with clarity. The spine compresses, and the vital flow of blood slows throughout the body. These are not merely the inevitable side effects of chronological time. They are the discernible side effects of a profound disconnection from meaning. And the body, remarkably intelligent in its resource allocation, simply does not expend precious energy where there is no longer a driving intention. Yet there is abundant good news. Purpose, in its most potent and revitalizing form, can return at any age, for any person, regardless of their past experiences. It does not necessitate embarking on a grand, world-changing mission or establishing a public platform. It begins with a deceptively simple, yet immensely powerful question: what can I still give? That singular question possesses an almost alchemical power. It ignites a latent fire within the nervous system, rekindles focus in the eyes, subtly yet powerfully tightens the posture, and reinvigorates the heartbeat. It sends an unequivocal message to your entire biology. There is still something vital here. Keep going. Purpose can be beautifully small and intensely personal. It can be found in the intentional act of watering your garden, actively listening with full presence to your grandchild's stories, mentoring a younger neighbor through life's challenges, delving into a new book with eager curiosity, mastering a new recipe in the kitchen, undertaking a walk not just for your own health, but to stay strong for someone else, or helping others navigate their own fears. You do not require public applause or external validation. You simply need a sense of responsibility, even if that responsibility is primarily to yourself. Because once you assume that ownership, once you make the firm decision that life is still very much in session, everything begins a miraculous transformation. You start to eat more nutritiously, you sleep more deeply, and your thoughts become remarkably clearer. Why? Because the body, in its profound interconnectedness, faithfully follows the directives of the mind, and the mind, in turn, is most vibrant when driven by purpose. When you consciously affirm to yourself, "I am not done," your cells, your brain, and your nervous system all hear that powerful declaration. You cease to drift passively through existence. You begin, however slowly at first, to move forward again with renewed vigor and direction. Do not allow the pervasive narratives of the world to convince you that your best years are irretrievably behind you. Do not succumb to the insidious lie that retirement equates to a release from meaning. You do not, and indeed cannot, retire from being needed. You do not retire from actively leading your own life, nor do you retire from the profound capacity to care deeply for others and for yourself. If you awaken and draw breath today, then today is unequivocally yours to lead, to shape, to infuse with your unique purpose. If your heart is still beating, you are still being actively asked to participate fully in the grand unfolding of life. Do not live passively. Do not drift aimlessly through the sands of time. Do not treat life as if it were merely a waiting room, passively anticipating some unknown next stage. The clock of life has not stopped. It continues its relentless ticking. The pertinent question is, are you still showing up? Purpose does not miraculously find you. You must actively create it through your deliberate choices, through the focus of your attention, and through the strength of your unwavering will. Choose something genuinely worth showing up for, something that ignites a spark within you. Because the moment you consciously choose to live without purpose, your body, in its fundamental quest for meaning, begins to silently wonder why it is still here. And crucially, the moment you choose to live with purpose again, your body remembers its vital role, and it begins the miraculous process of rebuilding your life from the inside out. You do not need an epic, grand mission to justify your existence, but you do need a profound reason, a cherished garden, a beloved grandchild, a reflective journal, a supportive group, a compelling cause, anything that serves as a powerful daily reminder that I matter, my existence holds value. This final wisdom, often overlooked, holds immense power. Most people do not succumb to death simply because they are old. They die, in a more profound sense, because they have ceased to actively participate in the vibrant, ongoing tapestry of life. Therefore, do not passively wait for the insidious onset of decline to remind you of the imperative to live. Embrace life now, with intentional movement that energizes your body, with nourishing fuel that sustains your cells, with deep connection that nourishes your spirit, with restorative sleep that repairs your being, and with unwavering purpose that guides your every step. Because while the ultimate finish line is never guaranteed or known, how you choose to run your final precious laps of life is still, unequivocally, within your own powerful control.